Good evening. It's 7:53 p.m. It is March 17th and it is Friday evening, and I decided to come on here and make this video because I have really nothing else to do. I've been working all day and I just had some free time, and now that I'm able to unwind, I I just want to kind of come on here and talk a little bit, which, everyone knows that I use YouTube as a diary in a way, when I'm not doing anything constructive. And yes, I do not like producing videos that suck in any way. But I do like making more structured videos, and I always apologize because I personally am disappointed in myself because I have a lot of creative energy, and I feel as though I'm not putting it to use, mainly because I've had these little bouts of depression that I feel has become a hindrance to my life. And I can't tell you the devastating effects that this sort of, they actually refer to it as a program. Being a targeted individual is kind of like a program because it's orchestrated and it's so, you know, the covert nature of it, and it literally does destroy a person inside out. It does, and it causes a lot of problems. But I will say that I enjoy the little things in life, and I think a lot of people in my situation, they unknowingly adapt to the environment that they're experiencing. And what I mean by that is, I've mentioned a few times before where I would be working a job and they would pull the plug on my job so that I would be put in a very awkward situation, like the time when I was working over in Buttonwillow. And what I thought was odd, but I knew something was odd with the whole setup there, is because I was, it was, it's like they didn't give me a lot to live off on the week of a weekly pay rate. And why I say this is because they arranged the job, right? And so I was working basically in a C train. It was horrible, and they did this because it was a form of bullying. But anyway, there was a time where, like, I believe that he purposely withheld my paycheck. And see, it was one of those jobs where they put you in a situation where you're getting paid under the table, right? And I had no choice. They put you in awkward situations. Anyway, I feel as though a lot of people go through where even if they do have money or they're somewhat comfortable, they're always afraid that something is going to happen to them, so they do not expand. I'm not somebody who's going out and buying a house or anything like that because I'm always terrified of weird stuff happening to my life. But I do remember watching, and I don't watch TV. I don't even know why I even saw this or how I saw it, because I rarely turn on TV to watch TV shows or anything. And I can honestly tell you how much I hate like reality shows or shows that kind of exploit people. I think you know what I'm talking about. But this was one of those kind of shows. That's why I'm wondering how the hell did I remember seeing this. But anyway, it was this girl, and she was an Asian lady. I think she was living in New York, okay? And she was an accountant, and she kind of lived like me, but she was a real accountant, okay? But she lived like me. What I mean by that is she was all by herself, okay, as a woman. And she was like frugal extreme. Like, the reason why they were filming her is because she would actually dumpster dive for her food. She's like an established accountant, okay? There is no reason for her to do such a thing. There is no reason why, you would think there would be no reason why somebody who she makes a decent living, why is she getting her food out of the dumpster? And maybe there's a big possibility that there's nothing wrong. Maybe she really is somebody who sees the value in money and she's saving all her pennies, okay? That's a possibility, okay? But in my mind, and this may not even be the case, okay, because I don't know the lady, and I'm not sitting here psychically focusing on her. I don't know her. I have that empathy for her. But she could very well be somebody in a situation where she's being abused financially, to where if they don't want her to do certain things, they can just pull the plug anytime they want to for whatever reason, because it's a form of manipulation. This particular video, clip that I was watching, it made me think, and I didn't think much about it at the time, but I do know that it terrifies you to make any sort of step in the world or make any sort of progress in the world, because you fear that things can happen to you, and that's beyond your control. This whole thing that happened to me was beyond my control. Like, I literally came to this town when my son was young, and I settled down here, and just wanted to work and get a little place to stay and raise my son and be, whatever. That was it. I had no other intention, really. But I didn't expect people to follow me and all this other stuff. My family came here, or not came here, but their influence came here. They met with people and interacted with people and networking, whatever. And it's really not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is that, I am somebody who does enjoy the little things in life. I don't, have a lot of, I'm not the kind of first person who's going to go out and buy, the first electronic gadget that comes out. I usually am the last person who knows about the big electronic gadget that comes out. And the very fact that I call it electronic gadget is because I really don't have much of an interest in them. I do, I use things like, computers, and I familiarize myself with software and stuff like that for work and stuff like that. But in my personal life, I'm somebody who lives a very basic life. I like the simplicity of it, and I find joy in it. I was just talking about a few days ago about how, I just recently moved into this little apartment, and I don't have a backyard, but I have learned how to improvise. So, in the patio, I'm like, okay, I was thinking about getting some AstroTurf. And I was I talked about how I was really cheap and didn't want to spend $300 for a patio that, I'm renting, okay? Why would I do such a thing in my mind? But anyway, I enjoy the little painting my flower pots, and maybe it's not the greatest garden. I think some people are really good with arranging things. I'm not somebody who is, which proves the point that I'm not artistic that deeply, okay? I have an artistic sense, but I don't have the ability to arrange and stuff like that. But I just basically start painting or doing something, and then I put it together. I'm not somebody who coordinates on certain levels very well. But anyway, but these little things I find joy in. And, I know that there was a lot of bullying about my little anything that I did, and it's not about me raising a ruckus or anything. It's more about my life and how I have to live. I live in a way where I don't trust people. I can't trust people. I can't trust them. And I feel as though, when you deal with something like this, where somebody basically wants to use you as a slave, basically. Somebody who wants you to give up your life for their sake, and then when they get fucked over or they need you, then all of a sudden they expect you to do something for them. It's shocking to me. It disturbs me. It literally keeps me up at night. It is the very fact that somebody would even be involved in something as serious as trying to establish, taking care of yourself and keeping a roof over your head, and then using slander and hate campaigns to prevent somebody from existing so that you can manipulate them, and this issue did really open my eyes to how, and I've talked about corruption before, but it opened my eyes to how people, to me, are inherently wicked, okay? But the reason why their wickedness runs so rampant is because they don't even know that they're wicked. Like, they don't understand the certain definitions of things. You know, they don't understand bullying. Like, maybe it's because when people talk about bullying, the first thing that they conjures up in their mind is a kid, you know, being pressed against the locker at school, being bullied for his lunch money. And this is what people think. If this scenario doesn't look like this, then that's not me. I'm not doing that. Okay, but it is the same thing. It's the same thing as somebody bullying you at school because they don't like your knee socks, okay? And they want to poke fun of you, and they want to put, do scenarios in front of you to try to change your behavior or make you something that you're not, that you don't want. You like your knee socks, okay? For example, you like your knee socks. You might be nerdy, you might be nerdy, but you like your knee socks, and somebody is constantly putting massive pressure on you to stop wearing knee socks and wear ankle socks or maybe flip-flops or whatever. The point is that people don't understand what they're doing. You know what I mean? They don't understand that you don't put a person in a situation where their life vision is this, 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 and this, and yet they purposely do certain things to put you in an uncomfortable position where you're not happy. And this is what happened to me at the Buttonwillow place. Like, I didn't like the place from the get-go, but they put you in a situation where you need to work, right? This is the sort of situation that I was in, and it terrified me. It literally terrified me. I was scared a lot of times, and then when my employer let me go, I was terrified. And then I asked my mom, can I stay with you or whatever? And my family was like completely turned against me for whatever reason. They had all my fucking pictures taken out of their house. It was very strange. Very strange, and I think, the whole thing disturbed me and shook me and made me realize that that I was in a family that I didn't recognize. I didn't recognize that. Like, I was young when I used to know my family. What I mean by that is, like, your siblings as teenagers, and you might do things with them as teenagers, but you grow into adults and they have their own lives, and they, when they're away from you, they talk about you and they do certain things, and you don't realize that they do things behind your back. You know what I mean? And then looking back, when I started making all those videos on my last channel, I started putting it all together and realizing that these were the people who took up my entire life. You know what I mean? And this is the explanation as to why this didn't happen and that didn't happen and why my weird life is so choppy. And one of the things I talk about people who have been victims of human trafficking is that they have missed time. And I think about the years that I've missed. Most people my age can sit there and talk about big high points in their life where they lived through certain things that most people live through, okay? Like, I bring up the prom a lot. I didn't go to prom, okay? Maybe the prom's not a big deal. But the reason why I didn't is because of these people. These people have destroyed every bit of my life out of their pure and simple jealousy. And it is very strange, but I'm not the only person who's gone through this. Like I've said before in some of my videos on my other channel, where there are very sick family dynamics. And most of the time, this sort of stuff does come directly from your family. And where they basically follow people for 20, 30 something years doing the same thing. You know what I mean? And there's people who've picked up and moved across the country, even in different countries. They might have lived here. Like, there was one girl, this was going on with her. She was living in the United States, and she decided to try to move to Mexico to get away from it. Okay, but of course, they know where you are at all times. And it's very strange that something like this happens, but this is exactly what human trafficking is. This is what it is. This is the definition of what it is. That someone is trying to gain the rights and control over another human being. They are forcing them, one person in a community, is being singled out for a certain form of behavior modification. What the hell is that? Now, there's been talk about, government experiments on people doing certain things like this, okay? And from what I read, the results were disastrous on the human being, okay? Because it's bad. It's bad. It's really bad to do that to a human being. Very bad. To find out that my family has been doing this my entire life. And it was emotionally disturbing to me. and it still to this very day is. It's still like I'll get like anxiety issues over the whole thing, and you can't go to anyone. I don't trust anyone. Okay, anyone. Okay, I remember talking about how I took my son to, and this is the truth. Okay, when people have this bullying thing is very serious. Okay, it literally brings out the demons in people. I kid you not. Now, I don't know what happened, or maybe, this guy might have just injected me with some sort of fluid, but this would happen. I took my son to a medical facility so that my son could get his, regular rounds of shots that kids get. They have to have them in school. Now, this particular doctor didn't ask me for if I wanted a shot, but he just put a needle inside of my thigh. And I thought, oh my God, like what in the world why did you do that? You know what I mean? My thing is this, and I don't know if he just did it because he believed rumors that my family said about me or whatever, but this sort of thing is extremely dangerous, and this is why it is an illegal activity to put someone in a situation where they do not have adequate resources to get any help. Okay. And then the shocking part is that they use things like religion, stupid things like the fact that I had a child out of wedlock. Who cares, right? To me, I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed of any of the things that I've done, even things that I've done when I was, most things I did when I was younger. You know what I mean? And I think that's part of life. You make mistakes, you grow up, and you learn, and you don't do them again, and you put yourself on another road. And if you don't put yourself on another road, well, then you are basically a failure and you're kind of stupid, but I've always been able to redirect myself well, and I'm very self-disciplined, but anyway, I have learned to live in a very simple way. Like I do love clothes. I know they hate that about me because the thing is they don't want to see me happy. It's just something about it. They always think it's a game. If Maria's happy, I have to steal the happiness. They've always been this way. This is a very sick game that morphs into, like I said, pathological jealousy, and it's very odd and it's very creepy. Okay, but there's millions of people who go through this thing that I'm going through from people just like that. Okay, narcissism, psychopaths are not that uncommon. They are actually more common than you think. You know what I mean? And the very fact that these people were willing to participate in this, okay, and think it's okay to bully somebody just because they don't want to eat donuts, or they don't want to, have a hot dog, or they don't want to have a sliced pizza or whatever. Okay, that's their choice, and they think it's okay to, make fun, gossip about another person, blah 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 blah, and they don't realize that what they're doing in itself is bullying. Why should this person be made fun of because they don't want to do this, and this? It's not, it's a hate crime. It is a hate crime. And they don't realize what the definition of hate crime is. And just like a lot of white people don't know what a racist is. They think it's you have to be a member of the Ku Klux Klan to be a racist, or you have to be burning crosses on people's lawn. No, you don't have to. It's when you exercise your right privilege over another person, and prevent them from living their life and take away their rights. That's what racism is. And yet a lot of white people do that on a daily basis and don't think about it that way. And so when you put that in perspective and you tell them this is what it is, this is by definition, this is what it is, okay? It's not just the Ku Klux Klan, it's this when you do this, and you make a decision as to what a person's going to do in their life. And you take that right away from them. That's what it is. You're exercising your right, your race, your privilege, And this is not me creating a race issue, because I don't get into all of that. But it's my point is that humans in general are evil beings, whether they're black, white, Mexican, in between, whatever. Okay, it is the nature of humans to be evil, And I'm completely convinced of this, okay? And in one of my videos, I will go more into it, okay? But I honestly feel as though, you know, that being by myself, like, I like being alone. I really do. I like being alone. Of course, I talk about having a friend and stuff like that to do things with when I don't feel like being alone. But for the most part, I enjoy my peace and quiet. And I enjoy the little things that bring me joy, the little things that a lot of people don't think is a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, I'm happy as hell when I go to the 99-cent store. And some people think, okay, you can get something a little bit nice. Yeah, I could go and get something nicer, but it's a simple joy. You know what I mean? I don't have to be like extremely materialistic to be happy. It's the, you know, it's the little things that I'm pleased with, okay? And I realize that someone like me, as a targeted individual, is very grateful to have the little things that I do have, you know? And it has been very hard on me. Like, you know, I sometimes, like, I honestly feel sometimes that it becomes difficult for me to deal with people and the interaction with them. You know what I mean? It's okay when I deal with it at work because it's professionalism. It's like, you know, you're in these sort of conversations and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm always in the back of my mind, like when I meet people, like, for example, at the grocery store or something like that, and there is no professionalism is not needed. You know what I mean? It's not, you know, you don't have to sit here and, like, refrain or hold back from what you say or whatever. It's different there. And, you know, you wonder who these people are and what they're going to do to you. And it's sad because I've only known the influence of what my family does and what they bring. And they bring nothing but chaos. They bring nothing but their own discord, their hatred, their problems. And there are some people, I believe, that generally make an effort to be nice. You know, I felt some sincerity in people. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, I also know that even the nicest person can become an absolute wicked person when they are under the influence of certain people. You know what I mean? It becomes group mentality, and this is where it becomes scary. You know, very scary. And, anyway, I have got some things, like little arts and crafts, things that I decided to do before I go to bed. And yes, this is one of the things I was persecuted for. You know, and there was this big debate about whether Maria was actually an intellectual or if she was like somebody who was an artist. And the reason why people see me the way that they want to is because it brings them mental comfort to see me in a way where they feel they can see me as lower than them. And I understand the psychology of how people and why people label other people. I understand people very well. Okay, this is one of the reasons why I stay the fuck away from them most of the time. You know, because I don't want to be brought into their drama. Which, you know, the sad part is my life seems like it's always been someone's bringing their drama into my life, and I don't want people's drama. You know, I'm looking for some sort of peace in my life after having to deal with the garbage that I dealt with for pretty much all my life, you know, and now I'm like, you know, I'm trying to pick up my pieces. And yeah, sometimes life is scary. It's very scary, you know, but I also realize that no matter what happens to me in this life, you know, I don't have to fear, like, death, like a lot of people should. I honestly don't. I'm not saying that I'm so holy or anything like that, but I know that I don't have those same standards. I would not do the things that other people do. It would never occur to me to be something like that. You know, I'm at peace with myself. And I think that's the best thing. And that's one of the reasons why I can enjoy the little things in life. I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope you all have a good evening and a wonderful weekend. Take care.